Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and this is my reviews, my part 2 to the reviews of comics that were released on 9/23/2021. These are all DC. Collectively, these are all the Fear State books, so that's why I have them grouped together, so I could just knock them out in one stretch. There is a reading order. I do have these in the order that they are supposed to read, but if you have not been reading Fear State and for some reason you're seeing this in the future, or you haven't started reading it but don't know where to start, you can easily Google, where to start, Fear State reading order, and it'll show you in order what to read. Because it can get a little confusing. Some of these, for the most part, not so much, but in previous and probably in future, it would get confusing. But first up, we got Batman 113 kicking this off. This is going to be 4 issues, but in this issue, basically, it's kind of catching you up with everything that's been going on within Batman's world with Saint Industries and Scarecrow and Peacekeeper 1. Those are kind of like the 3 antagonists that are kind of plaguing Batman's world right now. Specifically Scarecrow, because he has kind of flipped things upside down. But they're basically just catching you up with what's going on. Oracle has been hacked. She doesn't have control of the tower anymore. Someone is broadcasting a fake message saying that Batman is dead, that Scarecrow has released a poison that's in the air, that everybody is already infected. We do see the Insanity Collective down in the Queen Ivy's domain underneath Gotham, and it looks like they're all kind of anxious. Simon Saint kind of freaking out over Peacekeeper, because Peacekeeper has been recently drugged and is specifically killing innocent people in Gotham. And then we just have Harley and Gardner kind of searching for clues, that kind of stuff. But technically they're on their way to Alleytown. We do catch up in this story where it takes off, but it's Batman. He's finally getting in touch with Montoya, she would be Commissioner Montoya at this point, and he's basically telling her the whole real stuff that's been going on with Simon Saint and Scarecrow, and what to believe and what not to believe. And she's basically like, look, I want to, I trust you, Batman, but I also need proof. So Batman leaves to go get said proof. He doesn't know exactly what it is at the moment, but he's pretty guaranteed he can get something on Scarecrow and Saint. And as soon as he kind of takes off and travels a couple buildings distance, he is already approached by the magistrate, who at this point has eyes everywhere. But Batman, at this point he has been hiding and using these shadows, and he's just kind of fed up, and he does take out the a bunch of the magistrate collective. We do see that he makes it back to one of his hideouts in Fort Grave, and he has already been in contact with Ghostkeeper to meet him, needing his help. But he's kind of devised, and he developed this I want to say it's augmented reality, but it's not. They're literally going to dive into each other's brains. They're looking for selected memories, stuff that they might have missed. Specifically when Bruce was drugged by Scarecrow, they are looking for maybe stuff that he just wasn't aware of that is in his memory. So they're going to kind of walk it together. They do start, getting to a point where they do recognize, Bruce doesn't, remember these events happening. And Ghostmaker and Bruce both realize that this must be where he was drugged and kind of knocked out, kind of thing. In the dream, there is a part where Scarecrow starts talking to them and realizes he is there. There is a massive kind of dream fight scene, and eventually they do kind of jut out of that scene, you know, realizing that they're in each other's minds, but in kind of friendly territory, so to speak. So they kind of like just alter reality around them. And Ghostmaker, they kind of hit a dead end. They don't really see anything that's going to help them in that situation, because Scarecrow was already aware that they were going to try something like that. But Ghostmaker wants to show him a memory that he physically has when Batman was in his year one mode. They show Ghostmaker was also at Gotham University. There was a time where basically Bruce went off to training, and Ghostmaker was here at the campus, as a student, and he was also classmates with I don't remember his first name, but we know him as Professor Crane, aka Scarecrow. And he's showing Bruce this whole kind of this memory, because he wants him to realize, that Scarecrow's had this plan all along, the fear state thing, and what he wants to do, and basically his fear state is he's going to tear down society, and make it so afraid, and basically he's going to be like that shining light that appears out of nowhere, and basically build up this world around his ideas, kind of thing. Batman does state, and Simon has stated as well, that the one kind of hiccup in their problem is Mahoney here, Peacemaker 1. And at the end of the book, we do see that Peacemaker X has finally found Peacekeeper 1, and he is telling him to come in peacefully, but if he doesn't, he will have to take him down, with lethal force. We do have a backup story with Bao, the Clownhunter. It's still following the events of his encounter with Scarecrow, when Scarecrow, first started the whole fear state thing. And I will say I love this, but he's basically been drugged. He did not know Scarecrow and what he was, and he kind of thought Scarecrow was a D-class villain, and approached him in the worst way possible, and got drugged, and now he's basically reeling off the effects of the drug. I'm kind of speeding through these art panels. There's a lot that goes down in this, but once I get to the very end, I will explain why I'm speeding through. But this is also continuing Bao's his other side stories. This has been going, I think this is the second or third part into his side story. But once you get to this part in the story, and if you have been following the side story and going off of the backstory on what I told you, he has been drugged, so everything I just showed you is just his dreaming. Technically, we are still at the end of the first issue. Bao is still falling to his death. He was thrown off a building by Scarecrow after getting drugged, and he is still falling, and he is, like, the next side story entry was him falling and him tripping out during that fall. And guess what? He's still, he's still tripping out, and he's still falling, maybe just a little further. At the very end, he is curious to see who is going to save him, but that was Batman 113, a really good issue. I love the art. Jimenez, man, Jimenez is killing it. Alright, next up in the Fear State series is Batman Secret Files Miracle Molly. This is the origin into Miracle Molly. The art is done by Danny. I will say I was like half fan of the art. The story is just amazing. It is Tinian. It's probably one of the better backstories on one of the newer characters that he's given us. But basically, it's we just meet who Miracle Molly was before she was Miracle Molly, and we find out she was married. She was married and had a real life. Now, this is kind of where it gets weird, because a lot of this art is sometimes I like it and sometimes I just don't. Man, I know many people do like this art, and normally I do like Danny's art, but maybe it's like the coloring, or because they do use like you'll see the yellow, but it's like this panel over here with Miracle Molly. I love that. But some of the family satire scenes, they come off weird looking. But anyways, we are meeting Mary before she was Molly, and basically Mary explains that she had a life, that she was married. She worked at a tech company called Helios. She had a mother that was involved on her family side of things, but it was really her husband that was more involved family, wise. We are with his like father and I think his stepmother or something like that. But there are many occasions where it's just basically we're like walking through Mary's life as a married woman, and her working at her job. In all three kind of aspects, she's kind of just bored and failing kind of thing. In her job, she wants to become this amazing inventor, and she has all these ideas, including the Miracle Molly program. They also kind of get to family at home, and it's not to say that she doesn't have a loving husband, but she is not interested in him. She's kind of bored. She definitely does not like the family because they're always trying to get her or them to do stuff that they're not really wanting to do. Like children comes up, and she's like, I'm not thinking about children, I'm trying to progress in my work life, that kind of thing. A lot of this, but in the background, we do get introduced to the character Wise, and I think he has a longer name, but Wise basically is like a YouTuber, and somehow Mary comes across Wise, and and she starts listening to what he has to say. During the process of like listening to what he has to say, but basically he's talking about society as a whole. Like, hey, you weren't designed to work for a company, you weren't designed to like wake up and get out of bed and go work for the man, and and basically like how society sets us up. Like basically we set up our lives judging based on pop culture type things. Oh well, that actress is pretty, so I need to kind of look pretty like her, or that male actor is wearing that stuff, so I want to go buy that kind of thing. And basically it just shows Mary diving deeper into what this guy is talking about, and basically he has this program that basically once you start the program, it basically wipes who you were, like memories and everything before then. Maybe not so much 100%, but basically you lose who you were, but it also unlocks like who you're truly meant to be. Kind of like freeing you and unburdening you from the shackles that society has put on us, kind of thing. And it just shows that she gets heavily invested in it, and there's like back and forth with her real life and then her investigation into the Wise kind of program type thing. And eventually we get to a point where her husband kind of does have this great husband conversation, and he's like, look, why don't you go to work? And he's like, why don't you like forcibly show your ideas at work and see if they will even even look at your stuff, to even get a promotion, to see if you can progress in your job type of thing. If not, stay at home, be a mom, have some kids, make my parents happy, that kind of thing. Honestly, she doesn't want to do either. She doesn't want to share her inventions. She wants to use her inventions to fix the world, not make money type of thing. And then at home, she's not really interested in the whole family idea. She wants to have a life with her husband, but she mentions a couple different times that the kid, it's not the right time in her family. This is just more pictures showing her investigation with Wise, and then finally her thoughts on showing the bosses at work the Miracle Molly, like plans and stuff like that. And she eventually does go to work, and she does kind of show them the plans and everything. She forcefully goes into a private meeting, and she does logically lay out, a very well thought out kind of business plan for all her spec and plans and this and that and her technology and how it can be used and how cheap and how much money it will save the company, and she lays it down like any real investor would just suck it up because of how she laid it down. And they fire her on the spot. Not only that, but stating that everything that she had worked on, like for the 4 or 5 years that she worked on, even if she worked on it at home, was technically copyright of that company, and so they snatch up, the Miracle Molly program, and they just show that Mary is broken. She's at that point of depression, and maybe suicidal stuff gets in there, but she doesn't let that linger at all. She instantly just says F it, and she was already going down that path anyway, so she breaks into the CEO that specifically took her programs and locates the Miracle Molly program. And as she is doing so, he's there and kind of anticipated that she was going to break in and everything, and as she is doing so, he's kind of telling her, hey, I need your help, I can't figure this out, it's more advanced, but I need to, say that this is my stuff so I can get the money for it, but I'll throw you a recommendation for your next job kind of thing. And then she just kind of snaps, and she ends up killing the guy, grabbing the Miracle Molly program and running off. And the next thing we see is just she's wandering aimlessly around Gotham, and she doesn't really know where to go. She doesn't know how to find that Master Wise guy or whatever, and they do show her going to sleep on the streets, and when she wakes up she does have a note to meet at a location, and we do see that she does meet Mr. Wise and the beginning of the Insanity collection, basically telling her that she needs to lose her sanity and break those shackles. And they do show that she does go through the insanity process to become Miracle Molly. They do show how she picks the Miracle Molly name, because when she wakes up she doesn't remember being Mary or anything like that, and it's basically because she had the Miracle Molly kind of notebook next to her. They do show a recording from Mary stating that if she ever finds out that she was married before, that she is not losing anything, that she did not, that she wasn't anything before Miracle Molly, and basically at the very end they just tell you to look for more Molly in Fear State, and they show Molly being free. And we've already seen in Batman 113 that she is present, and we'll see her again pretty soon. But a really, 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 really good origin story to a character that I kind of thought was going to be like a 10-minute character. Next up we got Catwoman, issue number 35, a Fear State tie-in. I have not been reading. It's kind of here and there with Catwoman. I think I read a couple issues back. It depends on what's going on with Batman. I do know that she has been, she has had this one bad guy that has been kind of predominant. I'm drawing a blank at his name. I can picture what he looks like. But anyways, she's been kind of dealing with this one bad guy while she has become the queen of Alleytown. She also has a piece of poison ivy that she has secured down and hidden somewhere in Alleytown. But currently she has run out all the other mobsters and secured all the crime families that are in Alleytown, and she runs Alleytown now. And we are coming off this massive destruction that has been going down from this bad guy that has been after Catwoman, and is said to, he's basically trying to kill her and everything that she's built, kind of thing. One of her detective friends, they have this conversation about how he was supposed to take the bullet and this other girl took the bullet. We do find out that Catwoman did have like a kind of like a little sister type of situation, and recently she did have to send her away because all this chaos has been going down. It's kind of one of the more like sadder scenes in the book, and even, I mean, Ram V, man, I love Ram V, but I want to go back now and read these. I keep forgetting that he's writing Catwoman, but just this one scene here, how he sets it up, and me not even reading the damn book, and I was getting like kind of like teary-eyed at the goodbye that, you know, Selena's having to do, sending her, you know, kind of little sister away. To protect her basically, and the little sister kind of like agreeing at the same time. There's been some crazy shit going down, and it's also she's been doing this because recently she found out, you know, she does find out about the it's the radio message that is coming from Oracle in Gotham City. We do know that it is not the real Oracle. It is somebody working with Scarecrow, or Scarecrow specifically. But she does hear that Batman is dead and kind of starts freaking out. She does kind of trust that Batman is Batman and he's not really dead, but at the same time, you know, getting a news report again saying that Batman is dead is kind of scary. They do show the current state in Alleytown with the magistrate, and we do know, I know for a fact, reading you know, the main Batman and detective comics, that Simon's saying that Alleytown was first on the list to be eliminated from the Gotham regime that he's trying to, you know, and basically I think the reason he stated was there's too many like random like people in Alleytown as far as like assassins, murderers, criminals, that kind of thing. We do see a scene in a warehouse where a bunch of like ragtag people, we see like Killer Croc, Clayface, and Cashier, Firefly, but we do see that Clayface is basically trying to rise these villains to do better, and basically because you know, Clayface has recently kind of turned cheeks and has been a good guy, and he's trying, and all these other villains supposedly want to do the same, and they do show that around the neighborhood they start trying to eliminate, you know, the magistrate and their forces around Alleytown, trying to protect as many civilians as they can. There is this like heart wound. It goes back to the conversation with the officer, and back with her finding out about the broadcast, you know, about Batman and stuff like that. It does jump over to the Riddler. And I want to say that Riddler has something to do with the Oracle transmission, but we do catch up with Riddler here, and he is talking with Oswald Cobblepot, aka Penguin, and they are basically talking about trying to, you know, while all this is going down, they are going to be in the background trying to, you know, basically they know Scarecrow is going to fail, and as soon as he does, they're going to be there to pick up the pieces and take over the crime and villain, you know, status quo. They do show that the poison ivy, you know, that Catwoman has is secure and down below, and not only that, but Riddler somehow knows about her and is looking for her. They do show this crazy scene where they at one point, Catwoman trying to make it out of Alleytown to get to Gotham to help Bruce and find out if he is dead, but the magistrate does like corner her, and of course he can't corner a, you know, a kitty cat, but not only that, but how about two cats? And we do see one of Catwoman's little alley cats that's kind of helping her out. I do forget her name, I'm bad with names, but basically at this point, she, you know, Catwoman, Selena's trying to run off now that she has been kind of saved and everything, and just out of the problem with the magistrate. And this girl's like, hey, wait, you need to come listen to this. And she basically tells her that the radio transmission that's going on is not necessarily a fake one, but there is a hidden code that's going through it. And basically the hidden code telling people to stay out of Gotham, that there is some mess going down, basically everything we know. And at the very end, that basically that Batman is sending help to Alleytown, and we see at the very last page who that help is, and it's the Gardener and Harley Quinn. We already knew that they are en route to locate Poison Ivy. They are trying to put her back together, because right now with Queen Ivy, she is a little too dangerous. Last but not least, we got NightWing, issue number 84. I have been reading this run has been stellar. But we are going off the effects of NightWing. He just made it public what he's going to do with his money, and basically he's going to do this thing where he helps Bloodhaven, and he's going to do it where it's like you don't have to pay for energy bills, you don't have to work, kind of thing, you don't have to pay for food, apartment, living, housing, that kind of thing. And he's supposedly figured out a way to do that. But he is kind of chilling at the top of a building in Bloodhaven, and he's kind of still like going off of all that. But not only that, but he didn't state it in costume, he stated it as Dick Grayson, because so now he's like, man, I really do have to protect the city, and I can't fail because my face is out there, kind of thing. And he is just kind of, wondering about everything that's going on and trying to piece it together, kind of thing. As he's doing that, he does get like a radio transmission that comes through, and it's like a broken piece of the radio broadcast that Oracle has been transmitting. He does figure out that somebody has been sending him like a Morse code transmission to meet him in Park Row in Gotham City, which we know is a crime alley. And so he gets ready to, take that journey to Gotham and hopefully help out Bruce. We do see that, one of the funnier scenes right here that most people know, but these kids are vicious right here, that's all I gotta say. Because there is a mention of a goldfish, and the goldfish deserve to die, that's all I will say. But basically after that is Dick trying to sneak into Gotham, because he has not been in Gotham recently, so he's not up to date on all the magistrate stuff that's going on. But he does know that he's got to be careful, and right as he gets there, he's having to creep around corners and watch out for drones, and he states that he can do it, he's just not used to sticking completely to the shadows, kind of thing, which it doesn't matter anyways, because he's quickly spotted with all the different eyes and ears that are now working for the magistrate. And eventually, it's a kill on sight mask, kind of thing in Gotham. So NightWing instantly, starts to protect himself, and already realizes that he's kind of outnumbered. But even before he can, say, Batman shows up to kind of jump into the fight. Batman is all weirded out that NightWing is there. NightWing kind of stated that, he heard the message, he had to come help, and Batman stating, I didn't send the message, I didn't want you to come, kind of thing. And we do learn that because they eventually make it to Park Row, and it was basically all a trap from the get-go. Not only were they trying to lure Batman, but anybody associated with Batman, so it was kind of like a double catch. They ended up getting Batman and Batman and NightWing. Basically, there's this. They keep showing up, the drones and the reinforcements, so they have to go through buildings, and eventually, NightWing is not up to date on what Batman has had to be doing, but they do end up going underground to, a bunch of the layers, and NightWing stating that, he needs to catch up with Bruce and what Bruce is going on, and Batman just reiterating the fact that he really did not want his son involved on all this. They finally do make it to the tower and catch up with Barbara, and Barbara kind of catching Dick up with everything that's going on with Oracle, and how someone hacked the Oracle system, and it has to be like landline, like somewhere close by, so they're not able to use technology currently. They're going to have to use like CB radios type thing. But they do show one of the best things ever, that at the end it's pissed off Barbara to the point where she is suiting back up, and we would get to see Barbara Gordon as Batgirl one more time. That's where this issue leaves us at. We already do have one issue that dropped today. I think it's one issue for this week, and that would be Detective Comics that dropped.